So if the Marine Corps was a fragrance, what would it be? Definitely something focused, direct, in your face. Definitely impossible to ignore. Maybe a bit obnoxious. Well, the fragrance I'm going to choose from has a bit of pepper and bergamot at the top and a whole lot of ambroxan. It projects authority. Actually, it just projects. It lets the whole room, lets the whole world know that you're there. Yeah, let's go with the Dior modern classic, Sauvage. Now for the Army, I want something solid, grounded, dependable, but still a little bit fun. Give me a whiskey accord. Give me a little bit of leather. A little bit of rugged confidence. How about Carolina Herrera's CH Men Privé? Now for the Navy, I want something classic. I want something oceanic. A deep maritime vibe that will remind any sailor of the sea. Let's go with Davidoff's Cool Water Intense. And for the Air Force, let's talk about a fragrance that gives you the thrill of commanding the skies. Clean, yet a powerful projection. Always aiming high with the Air Force, I'm going to go with the original Paco Rabanne Invictus. What about for the coasties out there? For the Coast Guard, I want something that symbolizes vigilance. A calm preparedness. Maybe a bit of crisp juniper with the bergamot, but evoking the open water? Let's go with Tommy Bahama's Maritime. All right, gents, as you can tell, today's video is going to be a fun one. I'm matching up over 24 careers and professions with the fragrance that best suits them. And with that being said, let's start off with a fragrance for you IT professionals out there. Every day you're there to support, slaving away over your computer or making things happen behind the scenes in companies around the world. Well, the fragrance I'm choosing for you is strong, yet sensitive. It's got a versatile scent with a fresh opening, a smooth woody dry down, and great performance with a single spray. The main accords here, iris with a bit of powder. Guys, the fragrance I'm talking about for my IT professionals, Armani Code Parfum. A great pick, right? You got that bergamot at the top, you got the tonka bean in the base. A really interesting combination that just works. Now, what about for you truck drivers out there? So for you guys, I'm going to choose a bright citrus. This is going to be a fragrance with herbal notes, yet it's got a laid back vibe. A lot like you, sitting in your seat, driving across country, making things happen at 4 a.m., at 4 p.m. This fragrance is for the open road adventure, and I'm talking about the classic John Varvatos Artisan. Now, what about for you firefighters out there? So let's start this one off with a blaze of green apple, a bit of black pepper, dark spices. The fragrance I'm talking about here, just like a firefighter, thrives in high-intensity situations. This fragrance, like you, has a bold, adrenaline-filled spirit. I'm talking about Victor and Rolf's Spice Bomb Night Vision. Now, what about my lawyers out there, specifically those of you guys that spend time in a courtroom? Now, the fragrance I'm choosing for you has a bit of a dramatic flair to it. It's a fragrance that wouldn't overpower in the courtroom, but definitely if someone got close, they would notice. Vanilla, cardamom, and amber would create a commanding yet refined presence. For this fragrance, think closing argument in a bottle. I'm talking about Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. What about for my cleanup professionals out there? The guys that keep things in order, the guys that make sure things are in tip-top shape. Whether they're the custodian of a school, a stadium, or a building, the fragrance that's going to work for these guys reflects their attention to detail. They want something that smells immaculate. Clean, powdery, a bit of iris, maybe even a bit of a soapy undertone. Guys, if your job is all about things being spotless and having a professional presentation, check out the classic Prada L'Homme. Now, at this point, you may be saying, Antonio, that sounds all nice, but I don't want to be smelling like everybody else. Well, gents, if that's you, you need to check out today's sponsor, Gissata, and their new fragrance, Titanium. So the accords here on this fragrance are going to be vanilla, aromatic, warm, spicy, powdery, woody, sweet lavender with just a bit of herbs and spice. A 4-season day-night fragrance, as you can see from the note breakout here, it is a complex and beautiful combination that has excellent longevity and sillage. You want to attract the ladies, you want to get compliments, this is going to be the fragrance. Now, if you're looking for a fragrance that's a little bit more tropical, a little bit more fruity, something that's sweeter but still has great longevity, we're talking 12 plus hours, in that case, check out Gissata's Ambassador. Sweet, peppery with a bit of wood. This one is really nicely mixed, and I feel this one's a little bit better for warmer weather. But my favorite fragrance in their collection has to be the Ambassador Intense. Warm, spicy, sweet with a bit of amber. The vanilla's pushed down on this one, but it's still there, so it's sweet. It's going to get you compliments, but it's more masculine. For me, this one's a bit more dark, mysterious. It's perfect for the fall, winter, spring. And the opening is a bit surprising with a little bit more of a strong citrus and a dose of sweet florals in the dry down. The longevity on this is solid. We're talking beast mode, a solid 10 plus hours. Gents, if any of this sounds appealing, you need to get over to Gissata's website. Use that link in the description of today's video, explore what these guys have, and grab your favorite fragrance with the best deal you're going to find anywhere. Now, speaking of schools, let's talk about our teachers out there. For you guys, we want a fragrance that's going to be crisp, clean, approachable. That first opening note, I want to bring in a bit of citrus and neroli, but still I want something that's going to perfectly balance authority with warmth. You want to be approachable, but you need to be respected. For my teachers out there, guys, I'm going to recommend Versace's pour homme. Now, what about for my traders out there? The guys always looking for a deal, looking for a bit of arbitrage, looking for a hole in the market. Well, you want a fragrance that's going to be fresh and energizing. You need that energy because you always have to be on your game. The fragrance I'm thinking for you is going to have mandarin and mint right there at the top. I also want something a bit sophisticated, so let's throw in some tonka bean. Because whether you're on the trading floor or hustling on your computer, guys, you want a fragrance that embodies your calculated risks. For that, I'm going to recommend Chanel's Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Now, what about the guys that keep us going? The baristas, the guys working in the restaurants. Maybe you own the coffee shop. What's a fragrance for you? Well, if you want a warm cappuccino vibe, something from coffee and cocoa, a fragrance that's going to be cozy, intimate, something that draws you in, and when you're speaking to people, they want to hang around and listen. Well, the fragrance I'm going to recommend for you is Hugo Boss's The Scent Private Accord. What about for the coaches out there, molding the young people, turning those boys into men? Yeah, you're out there with them in the sun, in the sleet, in the snow, running through those drills, motivating, keeping them on point. Gents, for you, I want a fragrance that's clean, that's sporty. A fragrance with a blend of citrus and masculine florals with just a hint of woodiness at the base. This fragrance is perfect for a press conference or an after-match celebration. I'm talking about Lacoste L12 Blanc. Now, for my creatives out there, my writers, you move the world with your pen or your keyboard. And for you, we want a fragrance that's going to be dark, leathery, mysterious. Just like your plot twist, people aren't going to see this coming. And when you put on this fragrance, it's not only going to have everything I just said, but also an earthy vibe to it. Gents, the fragrance I'm talking about is Gucci Guilty Absolute. Gents, this fragrance is a deep, brooding, creative late-night writing session poured into a bottle. Seriously, as a guy that writes a lot, this one is amazing. And what about for you first responders? We're talking ambulance drivers, paramedics. We want something clean, crisp, but still a little bit fun. Maybe a little bit of tobacco. Yeah, we need some energy for the fast-paced lifestyle. Still, I don't want to overpower people when I'm in the back of the ambulance. For you, gents, I'm going to recommend Calvin Klein's CK1 Shock. Now, for you bartenders out there, guys, there were so many I could have put on this list. Any gourmand, especially from the house of Killian. One of my personal favorites, apple brandy. Another great option, a little bit deeper, a little bit richer, straight to heaven. And if you just want the smell of vodka, check out Killian's Vodka on the Rocks. Now, what about for you guys out there in the music industry? For you, I'm going to recommend a fragrance that's bold, confident. It's got a composition with a spicy mint, pink pepper, and like a driving bass line in a studio track. This fragrance is unapologetically energetic. Perfect for the visionary creative you are. What fragrance am I talking about? Creed's Viking. Now, what about you guys that work outdoors with the land? You're a forester, you're a landscaper. Well, the fragrance I'm going to recommend to you is just like that, crisp, earthy. In fact, it's dominated by a vetiver essence. It's got a sharp citrus at the top and a refined woody base that conjures up forest trails and being outside. Gents, the fragrance I'm going to recommend for you, Tom Ford's Gray Vetiver. Now, for you guys out there in the housing industry, mortgage lenders, realtors, for you, let's go with a fragrance with a bright citrus and nice juniper top. What's great about this fragrance is it exudes approachability, trustworthiness, and it's modern, versatile, and everyday fragrance that you can wear pretty much in any situation you find yourself in. The fragrance I'm talking about, gents, is Dolce & Gabbana's K Intense. For the guys out there dealing with electricity, my electricians, I don't know, maybe electrical engineers, the fragrance I'm going to recommend for you starts off with a huge spark. Lemon, lime, grapefruit, blood orange, Sicilian bergamot, and mandarin orange are at the top. This fragrance, every time you put it on, it radiates energy. Gents, the fragrance I'm going to recommend for you is the amply named Eros Energy. And by the way, an interesting part about this fragrance, it's got a very strong citrus top, but when you get to the dry down, it's got a little bit of an Aventus feel to it. Check it out. If you agree, disagree, or if I miss your profession, well, gents, I want to hear from you, so let me know your fragrance pick down in the comments. Now, what about for my mechanics out there? So the fragrance I'm going to choose for you guys, a very unique one. It's got a smooth mix of tobacco, hay, and musk that is an interesting combination and feels really robust. And what I love about this fragrance, it's ideal for a guy that isn't afraid to get his hands dirty, yet wants a subtle hit of style after clocking out. Guys, the fragrance I'm talking about is Dolce & Gabbana's Intenso. And what about for my doctors, nurses, and medical professionals out there? So the fragrance I'm going to recommend for you is a modern lavender fougere, absolutely beautiful. It's clean, it's calming, it's not overpowering. A perfect fragrance for a man that cares for others. In fact, I think the herbal undertones mirror a healing touch and signal a gentle bedside manner. Guys, the fragrance I'm talking about is Tom Ford's Beau de Jour. And if you're ready for another fragrance video, gents, I got you covered. Boom, right here. Go check it out. You guys know I love fragrance videos. I've made quite a few of them, and this one right here is one of my better ones, so go check it out. Boom, right here. Oh yeah.